रोचनो रोचमानः
Yes. Shobhana Shobhamanaha. Raghava Garu, just suddenly. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhadram Karnebhih Shrunuyama Devaah. Bhadram Pasyema Akshabhiryajatraah. Sthirairangai Tushtuvagum Sastanubhi. Vyasema Devahitam Yadayuhu. Swasti na Indro Vruddhasravaha. Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha. Swasti nastarcyo Arishtanemihi. Swasti no Bruhaspatir Dadatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Apyayantu Mamangani. Vakpranaschakshuः श्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मामा ब्रह्म निराकरोतु अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So Anjaneya Prasad has joined. So put the Sangeeta Anjali and Gita recitation for a while, and then we'll start our features. This is a Sangeeta Anjali by the granddaughter of Dr. Dharma from Delhi, professor of Sanskrit, and singing a song upon Sri Ramachandra, a small girl. If not, you put Bhagavad Gita. Om Brahman Brahmano Brahmavachasi Jayatam Arashtre Rajanyaha Shuraishavyoti Vyadhi Maharatho Jayatam Dugdhri Dhenu Odhanadvan Asusaptihi Purandhiryosha Jishnoratheshtha Sabheyo Yuva Asya Yajamanasya Viro Jayatam Nikame Nikamena Parjanyo Varshatu Phalavatyo na Oshadhayaha Pachyantam Yogakshemo Naha Kalpetam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijanavallabhaya Sarvarogyapradaaya Sarvashaktimayaya Sarvatejomayaya Sri Rukminishaya Krishnaya Te Namaha. Krishnam Kamalapatraksham Punyasravanakirtanam Vasudevam Jagadyonim Naumi Narayanam Harim Naumi Narayanam Harim. Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samavetaayutsavaha Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya. So, before all these things are being projected, because the recording is going on, let us have the introductory note to be given by me. as in the program, because there is nothing more and more to be spoken, because most of the scholars, who saints, who philosophers, who and yogis, who sadhus, who everybody has spoken the Bhagavad Gita and passed their opinions. Today, we have got also an opportunity, fortunately, to express our ideas, our thinking on the various aspects of Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is a library. Bhagavad Gita is mother. Bhagavad Gita is a mentor. And the talk by Krishna is mundane plus super mundane and spiritual and reaching up the goals. Because the very first sloka of Bhagavad Gita tells us that kshetre kshetre dharmam kuru. So you have to adopt, follow, promote, uphold, argue, etc. for that. Now we have the video of Singita Anjali coming up, I believe. So, kshetre kshetre dharmam kuru. In every field, wherever you are, dharma is karma. And karma is a big thread that goes through the beats of yogas. Number of yogas are there. But Krishna has chosen only 17 yogas in order to pacify and bring Arjuna back to the moods and try to perform the duty of the community or of the jati or varna in which he is born, Kshatriya. Kshatat rayatayati Kshatriyaha. That is, any danger, either for dharma, either for noble people, or anything like that happens, it is the duty of the king, the leader, the protector, to see that that is being redressed. So when such a highest person were to drop down, it is a great loss. So it's a sin. And in fact, the most important point that we have to notice, Arjuna, in his own normal way, said, I have already a large load of sin over my back. But if I were to battle and kill all these kith and kin on either side of me, I will be increasing the amount of sin, and there will be Saswata Narakavasa for me. I don't want the Saswata Narakavasa, so I don't fight. Better Duryodhana and others use their weapons and kill me than I kill all of them in the war. So this was the kind of hopeless thought to which Arjuna got himself reduced. And so that was not liked by the driver. He is not only the car driver, Krishna also is the mind driver of the passenger there sitting in that, who is a capable person. So a capable person is becoming like that. It is a problem to the driver, because the driver has been instructed to take to the war ground and help in the war and all that. So at that kind of situation and condition, and so then if driver also will to agree, it is not possible. Therefore, in fact, the drivers in the history of the drivers of note is interesting. We can see in Mahabharata, I mean in Ramayana, Matali is the one of the erstwhile driver, and he made Rama to employ Brahmastram upon Ravana and see that Ravana is done for. Actually, all astras which Rama was employing upon them were futile to Ravana. And then Matali said, the Indra's driver said, what Rama, you are just playing with that, the time has come, you cannot play, employ the Brahmastram. So on the advice of Matali in Yuddhakanda, you get the reference, he employed and Ravana was done. So here also in Mahabharata, which comes after Ramayana, Krishna is the driver. But the driver is so potential and powerful, therefore Arjuna was able to be back. And imagine on the side of Kauravas, Shelya was the driver for, okay, good. Let us listen to Sangeeta Anjali.
రామభక్తుడను ముద్రపిల్లయు రోమాంచమను కనకంచు కాము రామభక్తుడను ముద్రపిల్లయు రామనామమను సరిపబడి రామనామమను సరిపబడి రామనామమను సరిపబడి సరిపబడి రామనామమను తిరి సరి బబని బబని బబరి బబని రామనామమను సరి బరి మగమ బరి బాని రామనామమను సరి బబని సరి సరి బబరి బబని రామనామ సరి సని బ నిసని బమ సరి బబని రామనామ నీ సని 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 సరి సని బని బాని పాని పని పని సని బమ మాప మాప మప మపని ని బమరి మపని సరి సరి రామనామ మాను వరఖాగమీవి రామనామమను వరఖాగమీవి రామనామమను వరఖాగమీవి రాజు నయ్య త్యాగరాజునికే రామనామమను వరఖాగమీవి రాజు నయ్య త్యాగరాజునికే తోరేటి కోలు ప్రియ వెయ్యరాబంటు ప్రీతి కోలు ప్రియ వెయ్యరామ రామ
Beautiful. So a small girl from Delhi. So just now we are talking about Rama before he puts the next video on Gita recitation for some time, because it's a Gita Jayanti. We say Jai for the Gita. So as we are talking about Rama, we have got the beautiful song of Tyagaraja, Bantu Riti Koluvivaya Rama. In fact, today yesterday there was a Tyagaraja Aradhana, today in this Indianapolis, and people are all ready to make Pancharatna and all that. Very nice.
Namaste, my name is Anu Shriram. I'm from Chicago. I'm a student of Veda Kendra. I will be reciting slokas 10 to 20 from chapter 12 of the Bhagavad Gita. Thank you. अभ्यासेऽप्यः समर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि अथैतदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मद्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं ततः कुरु यतात्मवान् श्रेयो हि ज्ञानमभ्यासात् ज्ञानाध्यानं विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागास्त्यागाच्चान्तिरनन्तरम् अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कार समदुःखसुखक्षमी सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चयः मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिर्यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यस्मान्नो द्विजते लोको लोकान्नो द्विजते च यः हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगैर्मुक्तो य स च मे प्रियः अनपेक्षशुचिर्दक्ष उदासीनो गतव्यतः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यो न हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति शुभाशुभपरित्यागी भक्तिमान्यः स मे प्रियः समशत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु समसङ्गविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दास्तुतिर्मौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतस्थिरमतिर्भक्तिमान् मे प्रियोन्नरः ये तु धर्म्यामृतमिदं यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्धधाना मत्परमा भक्तास्तेऽतीव मे प्रियाः। ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे भक्तियोगो नाम द्वादशोऽध्यायः। हरिः ओम्।
So, before another small, all boys in Chicago, they have recited small portion of the Gita, just to show that Gita, yeah.
Hello, Namaste. My name is Madhav Sagi. I am a student of Veda Adhyayana Kendra. अतः षष्ठोऽध्यायः आत्मसंयमयोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच अनाश्रितः कर्मफलं कार्यं कर्म करोति यः स सन्न्यासी च योगी च न निरग्निर्न चाक्रियः। यं संन्यासमिति प्राहुर्योगं तं विद्धि पाण्डव। न ह्यसन्न्यस्तसङ्कल्पो योगी भवति कश्चन। आरुरुक्षोर्मुनेर्योगं कर्म कारणमुच्यते। योगारूढस्य तस्यैव समः कारणमुच्यते। यदा हीनेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्मस्वनुसज्जते सर्वसङ्कल्पसन्न्यासी योगारूढस्तदोच्यते। उदरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानमवसादयेत्। आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुरात्मैव रिपुरात्मनः। बन्धुरात्मा मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः। अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्। चितात्मना प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः। शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः ज्ञानविज्ञानतृप्तात्मा कूटस्थो विगतेन्द्रियः। युक्त इत्युच्यते योगी समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः। सुहृन्मित्रायुदासीन मध्यस्थद्वेषबन्धुषु। साधुष्वपि च पापेषु समबुद्धिर्विशिष्यते। योगी युञ्जीत सततम् आत्मानं रहसि स्थितः। एकाकीतचित्तात्मा निराशीर्परिग्रहः। तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः। कर्मभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद्योगी भवार्जुन। योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेन तरात्मना। श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां समे युक्तात्मनो मतः। ॐ तदस्ति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता सोपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे आत्मसंयमयोगो नाम षष्ठोऽध्यायः। कृष्णार्पणमस्तु।
Beautiful. So we have another student, small boy. He's been reciting from Chicago.
Hello, my name is Saitej Bhimvarapu. अतद्वादशोऽध्यायः अर्जुन उवाच एवं सततयुक्ताये भक्ताः त्वां पर्युपासते ये चाप्यक्षरमव्यक्तं तेषां के योगवित्तमाः। श्रीभगवानुवाच मय्यावेशमनो ये मां नित्ययुक्ता उपासते श्रद्धाय पर्यपेताः ते मे युक्ततमा मताः ये त्वक्षरमनिर्देशम् अव्यक्तं पर्युपासते सर्वत्र गमचिन्त्यं च कूटस्थमचलं ध्रुवम् सन्नियम्येन्द्रियग्रामं सर्वत्र समबुद्धयाः ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूता हि ते रताः क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखं देहवद्विरवाप्यते ॐ श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे ब्रह्मविद्यायां भक्तियोगानां द्वादशोऽध्यायः कृष्णार्पणमस्तु.
So thanks to these children learning Gita outside India, and we have got a cream of the advice given by Krishna at a very critical hour. When war already started, only they have to join the war. So at that critical juncture, the management done by Krishna is proverbially great. Every sentence is important. And Krishna wanted to convey that it is dharmyamrutam. Whatever has been told in the entire Bhagavad Gita is amrutam, nectar. So not myself talking much, and you all know, I just request the speakers. All are very powerful, but I have given, but only we have to share the opinions on each one of us. And so to begin with, Dr. Uma Maheswar Rao Garu, President of Sri Satya Sai Senior Citizens Satsanga, Bangalore, India. And he is an education officer and also a learned teacher who inspired number of students all over the time, retired teacher and professor. So, and he is organizing many interesting programs in India, and almost every day Sai Satsanga programs are done in the evening for 1 hour, making all people to join, interested, have bhajans and all that. So there is a lot to speak about Sri Uma Maheswar Rao Garu, but so anyway, you will observe how he is, but he wants to, I think, focus on the education, because education officer he is, or a director of that education. So he will speak on education part, aspect of the Bhagavad Gita. Sir, welcome. Thank you.
My pranams to all the members who have taken time to attend, listen, and speak on this very auspicious occasion created by Dr. C.L. Prabhakar. I have known Dr. Prabhakar for the past 20-25 years in Bangalore mostly, and I had the occasion to attend some of the functions organized by him under the auspices of Nada Veda Adhyayana Kendra. I'm glad that after retirement he took the opportunity of spreading the Vedic culture to the extent that he could do both inside and outside the country. If every person does a bit of it, then it becomes a mighty ocean. So what we have to get from him is the kind of the interest that he has got in Indian culture and spiritual heritage, and also his desire to propagate it. In the name that he's given, he has mentioned my name as doctor. I am no doctor at all, neither in education department nor in the medical department. I am Komarrazu Umamaheshwar Rao, basically a teacher in the Kendra Vidyalaya Sangatan. Then we had the normal promotions in the Purvasrama. I am a Bhagavan Satyasai Baba's devotee. And we have established an online program in India, mostly for our Telugu people, which we call is as Telugu Satsanga Vedika. So through that, we discuss lot many spiritual programs. And Bhagavad Gita is one which is discussed on every Monday. And you are seeing on the line, Mr. OSVR Murthy is the person who delivers talks on Bhagavad Gita, inspired by his guru, Chalapati Rao. And as a student of Baba and a student, I am inspired by the talks given by Swami Chinmayananda on Bhagavad Gita in the initial stages. And then I thought that I should study to the extent that I can. Neither I am a student of Sanskrit nor a student of literature, but a student of science. But yet, the interest in our Indian scriptures has drawn me towards that. And Bhagavan Satya Sai Baba inspired all of us to read this. And therefore, I first once again express my gratitude to Dr. Pravachana for giving this opportunity of speaking on today's thought subject that he has given, the aspects of Bhagavad Gita and reflections, guidance for today. So I'm not going to speak the spiritual aspect because there are speakers. So each one has got a limited time. So I'd be spending that much of time only to speak on, because in the name of Gita, several scriptures are available in Hindu philosophy. But this Gita, which appears in the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata, is only referred as the Bhagavad Gita. And this is only the Bhagavad Gita, which also the only scripture in the world that has a birthday celebrations also in the form of Gita Jayanti. Now, in the modern times, the Bhagavad Gita is the only one. That is why the Bhagavad Gita, Upanishatsu, Brahma Vidyaya, Yoga Shastre, so many dimensions are given. And it is also now being used in multi-dimensions, in corporate sectors, in education sector, and others also. So that is a wonder of this particular scripture. So being a teacher who has spent in the field of education, I'm just giving you just a few thoughts and 2-3 shlokas which has come to my mind, which will throw light on the strategies of education. That is actually the topic that I have selected, Bhagavad Gita on strategies of education. Now, in this, what kind of a strategies Bhagavad Gita would suggest today in the system of education? We have been following only the Jivana Upadhi Vidya, education for living only. But our Shastras gives education will not be meaningful unless it is added with Jivana Paramavadi Vidya. So a meaningful Vidya is Jivana Upadhi Vidya with Jivana Paramavadi Vidya. Because man is considered as the prime of creation. His Gamya is something. That is why they have defined this particular education in our Shastras. Vidya dadati vinayam vinayadyati patratam patratvat dhanamapnoti dhanadharma tatasukam. This is the lineup of education. But today, whether that goal is achieved or not, that you yourself know very much. Where dhanam moolam idam jagat. And that is the concept in which the education is being given. But if one wants to have this kind of a lineup of Jivana Upadhi Vidya, nobody would suggest that you should not educate yourself, you should not get employed, you should not get money. But will it be enough for a human being to be called as a Manava? Unless you have the Jivana Paramavidi Vidya, you know the art of living, you know that you are a social animal, you have a role to play. And unless Sahana Vavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavai, all these ideals, if they are not there, then one is not called educated. So Bhagavad Gita has, in my view, I am selecting a sloka from chapter 4, sloka 34. To start with, the 3 steps are given in this. Though it may be addressed to Arjuna, whatever it is in the Bhagavad Gita in the spiritual parlor. But tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. A teacher, if at all a student seeker wants to have a meaningful education, the Bhagavad Gita suggests 3 steps. The 3 steps are pranipatena, pariprashnena, sevaya. And this was what Gurukula system the students were adopting in the days of war. Therefore, there was no problem. It was Vidya Dadati Vinayam. It has conferred the Vinaya. Vinayati Yati Patratam. Definitely they were. Patratvat Dhanamapnoti. All that shloka, what it says, it has followed because the students has followed the 3 steps. Pranipatena. Having firm faith in the Guru, the teacher. Surrendering to him. Telling him that it is he who is going to impart. Pariprashnena. It is not simply listening, keeping quiet, but clarifying with pertinent questions related to the subject matter. It is not just questioning. The word pariprashnena is used in this. So the teacher is happy that somebody is following and somebody is really asking some kind of doubts related to what he has been teaching. So second is pariprashnena. Then has it ended there? No. Sevaya. Sevaya means whatever the instructions the teacher has given, scrupulously following with implicit faith. Earlier, we would see the Gurukula system, they were also doing the household chores for a guru. They were also doing the Bhikshatana for a guru. But today it is not necessary. If the guru asks, the teacher asks, if the students does the work, implicit faith and the time bound, it is equal to seva. Even now, modern students to have a meaningful education, the 3 steps hold good. Pariprashnena, pranipatena, pariprashnena, sevaya. Therefore, then what will happen? Upadeshyanti te jnanam, jnaninaha tattvadarshanaha. So first of all, any teacher for that matter, Prabhakar sir is happy when the students trained under him read, present confidently, whether that small girl who has rendered the Kirtana or the lady who has rendered the Bhagavad Gita with all the correct intonation, and the boys who have taken effort to chant some slokas. That inspires the teacher whosoever is training them. Therefore, but today what is happening? Even this was happened to Arjuna also. How to follow? Just simply if you say that earlier the students were given the training before they follow. It is not, a child is a child, whether the child is a modern child or an ancient child or a Middle East child. Because what prevents or what is preventing every one of us is the mind. The taming of the mind is necessary, and without taming of the mind, we are asking the bulls to go to the field and plow. They won't do it. Everybody has to be trained. And that is why Bhagavad Gita also gives in the form of Arjuna reporting when Bhagavan had asked in chapter 6, again, Shloka 34, the behavior of the mind. Chanchalam hi manak Krishna pramadhi balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva dushkuram. You see the upamana that they have given. That in the teaching line today, the educationists also understand that the student is not following, the student is not doing, the student is not doing because he wants to do, but his mind does not permit. Because it is so disturbing, it is so chanchala, and Bhagavad Gita had given the concept of the behavior of the mind. Psychologists have to, therefore in educational psychology, B.Ed, education psychology is a compulsory subject to those who are prospective teachers. That the mind of the teachers, students should be tamed so that they pay attention. Vayoriva sudushkaram. It is just like holding a tufan with your hand. Then the question comes, Bhagavad Gita is giving something which is very difficult? No. Bhagavad Gita also is giving that everything with an effort, it is possible. What is that? In the next immediate shloka of 35 of the 6th chapter itself, Asamchayam Mahabaho. The teacher is agreeing with the student that what you say, Chanchalai mi, Manak Krishna Pramadhi Balavadrudam. The teacher is not refuting. The teacher is accepting. What you say is correct. Asamchayam Mahabaho. Mano Sunudirgam Dulam Chalam. It is very, very, very difficult. But he gives a clue. What is this? Abhyasena ta kaunteya vairagyena cha guhyate. How to understand this? That you have to practice. And you have to, when you are taking a work, children are seeing the cricket match on the TV, automatically other things, they drop. Even eating, they drop. Even seeing, hearing also, they drop. All the senses, they drop. We have got inbuilt Shakti. That is called Vairagya. There is no question of any big philosophy to be brought in to bring in Vairagya. What you have got, that it has to be told. When you could pay attention, you can also do. So what I am submitting here in the limited time, that just like in all other fields, in the field of education also, the teachers, wherever one wants to get benefits out of the teaching, I will only advise that don't get disheartened. Fault may lie with you in knowing the psychology of the student. Prepare the student for that. Tell him that these are the steps which would help him to learn, so that he is having not only the Upadhi Vidya, but also Paramavadi Vidya. With these few words of my thoughts, I would conclude my talk in the given time. And once again, I thank all of you for listening, and also thank Dr. Pravachana for giving the opportunity of sharing my views on this very, very important scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, sir, for your nice, pointful presentation, picking up what actually Krishna is a big teacher. Arjuna is a student, but student also is highly capable to absorb. So the good student, good teacher make good results. So that's exactly you have brought out. Thank you very much for that, and especially important slokas. In fact, it itself is a big subject, but you are able to conclude within a short, limited time. Very much thankful to you, sir. And now, Babu, continue next. Now, Raghava has something to say.
No, sir. At the end, we will talk, sir. Thank you.
So next is our Dr. Neeraj Arora. He's a doctor talking about the nadis in the body, and he's a professor at University of Missouri, USA. And not only he is studying the body, and also he has got good knowledge beyond the body. In fact, I understood the Upanishatsu says that Gita, I mean, Krishna is trying to talk about the body and beyond. As just now, as our Uma Maheswara said, we have got that Vidya divided into two ways. That Vidya which gives you Udara Poshana, one, but that Vidya which is further higher than that. So all that, so we'll have Dr. Neeraj Arora, and next to her, him also is his wife, Rachana Arora. Both of them are wonderfully, though they are doctors, they are doing good. Now Prasad will speak.
Yeah, and I'll speak at the end, and I'll have Neeraj please come.
Introducing them. Through him only I get to know these two couple.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I can introduce Neeraj very much. So Neeraj is a big inspiration for me and a lot of us for promoting both physical and spiritual wellness. He's a remarkable person in terms of the Krishna Bhakti, and as you can see in this, he has a very great way of combining his knowledge of medicine, wellness to benefit all of us. I'm really looking forward to this talk. Neeraj ji, please.
Yeah, thank you, Prasad ji, and thank you, Prabhakar ji, for giving this opportunity to talk about the most divine book in the whole world. So as Prabhakarji has given this topic, purpose of Bhagavad Gita in human life. I want to start with a small, a minute prayer before I continue. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjala Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Guru Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I want to keep this like a very much kind of a story because everybody loves stories. So I'll start with the story of I want to be. So there was a teacher who was teaching all the kids in the classroom. And the teacher was asking one question: what do you want to be when you grow up? Somebody was saying, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a scientist. There was one kid who was just very silent and he was not saying anything. And so the teacher approached that kid and asked, like, why you don't want to be anything when you grow up? Then the kid says, I want to be happy when I grow up. So the teacher was really surprised when she heard this answer and thought like, okay, this is a great answer. But however, the journey, life does not stop there. That kid grew up and he was entangled in the material nature and he became an engineer, thinking that he will be very happy. And then after completing his engineering degree, he thought, okay, I should be happy. He started doing work. He was not happy. And then somebody told him that it's better for you to get married. Then you will be happy. Now we know that what happens after marriage. We just think that, okay, now marriage is one stage for to be happy. But again, he was happy for some time. And then he again became in kids. Then you'll be happy because you will have a lot of responsibilities after that. So you will be happy. So he did that. He got kids, wife, kids, everything. But still he is not happy. Somebody told him to go to US and come and then enjoy life. Still he is not happy. So what is the reason why he is not happy? So what is missing? So that the missing link is the understanding of the life, about who we are. And that is what the purpose of Bhagavad Gita is. Manuals are made to know about different type of devices. Like for example, even for phones or tablets, we have a device. We have this manual in which there will be instructions given to us, how to operate it. Refrigerator also, a lot of devices, a lot of manuals are there, which gives you all the information about how to operate. So what about the manual for the human life? So that manual for the human life is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is not just like a manual for life, but it is also the manual of death. One should understand that the purpose of humans is not just like to come here and work, but it is to understand that we are the eternal servants. We are the eternal servants of Lord Shri Krishna. And that is what the Sanatan Dharma is, just to serve Krishna in whatever way we can. We are divided in like all the Varnashram system, but our goal is to understand that the main purpose is to serve Krishna in whatever way is possible. Everything belongs to Lord Krishna. as the Ishopanishad say, Ishavasam idam sarvam, yat kincha jagatyam jagat, which means that everything and each and every part, it belongs to Lord Krishna, and we are given just a small part of it, which is our part. So that's the manual of life and death. So we understand that is this world our real home? Then we to understand this with the story. So we think we are Christian, we are Jewish. We divide ourselves into different ways: caste, creed, religion, whatever you say. You say that I own my home, I own my car, I own my this, but that is not the case. So our real purpose is, our real home is to go back to Godhead, and that Godhead is to first understand who we are, and then Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. And we are quite ignorant about all these things, and that's why we need to know our real father. So this can be understood with a small story. So there is this child who likes to play with the Lego or toys, like different kind of toys, thinking this the world that the child is making is real. A small child likes to make Legos, make stories out of it, and enjoy the world. They make like doctors out of it, right? Teachers out of it. But what are we missing here? So the parents of the child know that whatever work the child is creating is just like is a for the world. And at some point of time, the child will look at him. We are like we are one step away from Krishna, but we are facing the opposite direction. That is what our condition is at this point. So our goal is to just look at our Father and understand Him, and then we will be able to get rid of this repeated births and that, which is called punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. So this is that's our real home and our real Father. So He is always there to protect us. He always holds our hand when nobody can hold our hand. So this takes us to the point of self-realization. So once we understand this, that we are not just like a body, but we are soul, as this has been mentioned elaborately in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 2, that first and foremost understand that we cannot be killed, because we are not the body, we are the soul, and soul is eternal. So once a disciple went to his guru and mentioned that, oh, Guruji, I know the whole of the Bhagavad Gita and I can recite that in 45 minutes. Lord Krishna did that in 45 minutes. I can do it in 44 minutes. How about that? Guru was quite impressed, but he mentioned that, okay, can you can recite it, but can you even live one shloka of Bhagavad Gita in life? That means, can you apply that shloka practically in your life? And the disciple was stunned. He did not expect that answer, because he just knew the recitation, but he never applied that in his life. So that is what the self-realization is. So purpose is to understand our true identity, as has been mentioned elaborately in the Bhagavad Gita in different ways. So in various parts of the Bhagavad Gita, there is a ladder which we think, which is called a yoga ladder, which goes from karma yoga to jnana yoga to bhakti yoga. The real purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to understand that whatever work we do, whatever knowledge we gain, it has to be linked to Krishna. If somebody is earning $1 million, there is the place to enjoy in his life, but to surrender to Krishna some part of it, and not to be full of ego that, okay, I have earned, this is mine. Nothing is ours. So that once we reach that stage, and with a constant association of good devotees, with a constant association of good teachers, we'll be able to attain the stage of Bhakti Yoga. And constantly in meditation. So whatever we do, we surrender to Lord Shri Krishna, because he is the ultimate person. So this also brings to the point that whatever am I saying, is this really true? That brings to our story of hope or faith. This story is like a of an aeroplane. In this aeroplane, there were like around 300, 400 passengers seating. And then all of a sudden, in the mid of the air, there was this turbulence, super duper turbulence. And then everybody was scared of what's going to happen. The masks from the aeroplane, like the emergency mask, started to come down. And then everybody was in panic situation. At this time, there was this little girl who was just very calm, comfortable, just looking at around, seeing what people are doing. And then somebody came to her and asked, "Are you not afraid? The whole aeroplane is going to crash. And why are you not afraid? Don't you feel fear?" Then she said, "No, I do not feel fear, because the pilot of this aeroplane is my father. So there is no need for me to be afraid, because I know my father will take care of it." So that is called faith. So wherever we go, we will be faced with this situation. Whether we go to restaurant, you eat the food from outside, you are at the mercy of the chef or the cook who has prepared the food. You go to any kind of place you go, like you go in a car, somebody else is driving, you are at the mercy of the driver. So we have to understand that we need to develop that faith, and that faith, if we develop in Lord Shri Krishna, our lives will be in much more in a positive direction. So as I will now tell one more story of this forgotten master key. This master key is what we are missing. So there were a lot of good friends. They were friends were partying, and after the partying, they decided to go to a hotel. Like some around 8-10 friends were there. Now their hotel was in a very posh area, and it has their room was on the 50th floor of the hotel. At this time, they went to the hotel. Somehow, some misfortune happened, and then the elevators of that were not working of the hotel. Elevators of the hotel were not working. Now, what to do? They tried their best. The only option that the manager gave was, "You'll have to climb the stairs." So they all started to walk up the stairs. They started to went to first floor, second floor, third floor. So one of the friends says, "Looks like we have a long way to go. We will be getting tired when we go to 50th floor. How about each of us start saying some story?" So everybody started to share a story of their life. Somebody shared the story of their work, somebody about their love life, somebody about their normal life. So by this time, they reached almost 48th floor. One of the friend who was very silent at this time, he was not saying anything. And he said, and the other friend asked him, "Everybody has said the story. Why are you not saying the story?" And then the friend said that, "Okay, I can tell you a story, but this story, you might not like it." Then he said, "No, you just say. We will enjoy whatever you say, because we are just almost 2 floors away from the our reaching the room. Then you should be able to get your chance to finish your story." Then that the friend said, "We have forgotten the key at the manager's desk." That means everybody will have to go down again to get the key. And that is exactly our position is. Like we have reached so much of heights of materialism. We have earned so much money. We have earned so much of luxuries. And then we constantly chat, we constantly look around, but we have forgotten the real key. The real key is the key of Bhagavad Gita, all the teachings that have been given by Lord Shri Krishna to us. So, who can learn from Bhagavad Gita? And the main qualification that Lord Shri Krishna has mentioned is to be non-envious, anusuya way. Because Arjuna was the non-envious devotee of Lord Shri Krishna, he was able to get this knowledge from Shri Krishna. So with this, we have to develop an attitude of gratitude all the time, and we have to understand, as we previous speaker mentioned about spiritual masters, tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. The same verse I am going to repeat just because this is not just the role of teachers, this is the role of the spiritual masters. Spiritual masters are not just like ordinary person, but they are bona fide spiritual masters. They should be coming through the lineage of Sri Krishna. So once we understand them, once we serve them, that is how we'll be able to understand the material world and the spiritual world. This is just a small example. Like even to know this type of language, you need a teacher. Then to know the spiritual language, how much help from the teacher is required. One can understand that. So I'll end my talk with this small slide. The purpose of Bhagavad Gita, it's a manual for life and death. It's the way to real happiness. It is the elevation to self-realization, which is essential, understanding the Supreme with firm faith, developing a right attitude, and making sense of life and death. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for patiently listening, and I hope we learned from little bit from the stories. Now Rachna is going to Hare Krishna. Okay. Back to you, Prasadji, and
Thank you very much. So nice. Short time, maximum communication drawn out from the vast ocean of Bhagavad Gita. Thank you, sir. Now Rachana, Dr. Rachana, she is a scientist and also doctor. And so you can listen to her, and she is also equally oriented towards the Krishna consciousness and also Bhagavad Gita and all texts. She is now talking to us. Welcome, madam, please.
You're muted. Can you please unmute?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Dr. Prabhakar and Prasad Kalyamji, for giving us the opportunity to discuss with you. I have no eligibility to discuss Bhagavad Gita because I'm so much like learning the process with you all and to enlighten my soul to understand Bhagavad Gita. So in my very limited understanding, I would just like to convey my thoughts that I have perceived recently over a few months. It's like the scenes of Bhagavad Gita were set at a battlefield where Pandavas and Kauravas were set to fight. And at this time, Arjuna, who is a very powerful Kshatriya, and he has like full of knowledge, he was bewildered seeing his family in front of him whom he has to fight. He was so bewildered. And he asked Lord Krishna to be his charioteer and to take his chariot towards his family members so that he can visualize like whom he has to fight against. So that shows that even if we are so much the Lord has given us so much as knowledge and wisdom and opulences, we still need somebody in our life who can guide us to a proper directions. So in this case, Arjuna is an unalloyed and non-envious devotee of the Supreme Lord. Like, why did Lord Krishna accepted Arjuna only as the person to whom Bhagavad Gita was spoken? It's just because Arjuna was surrendered to Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna, he being the supreme personality of the Godhead, he's the supreme Lord. Why he chose to become the chariot driver of Arjuna? Because he can just lead him. Why he chose a menial service for Arjuna? It's just because Lord Krishna is out of compassion, out of causeless mercy. He's a Bhakt Vatsal. He likes the person who really loves him. He can do anything, whatever his devotees, his unalloyed devotee wants from him. So, for example, when during the wartime, being a chariot driver, Lord Krishna has to perform various duties like giving food to the horses, cleaning the chariots, and feeding with water and everything. And even Arjuna when he was on the chariot, he used to push Lord Krishna with his feet to show him which direction he should go. Like he was accepting all the gestures from Arjuna is just because of his compassion. Bhagavad Gita shows like even a person at a very high post, he can become out of love and compassion can serve his devotee. So this is a very beautiful combination of Lord Krishna being a Bhakt Vatsal and Arjuna as an unalloyed and non-envious devotee of the Supreme Lord. So Bhagavad Gita, as it is, it's like a treasure chest. So it is full of knowledge. So as in the treasure chest, we have an outer covering, which covers the treasures, all gems and the stones, precious gems. So the outer covering, like the chapter 1 to 6, talks about the Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga is kind of an analytical study, or it tells about how a person, or even in this case, how Arjuna should perform his duties. Arjuna being a king, he knows his duty is to fight. But during the wartime, he was so bewildered that he was losing his confidence to fight. So at this time, Lord Krishna gave him various reasons to fight. First of all, he was giving him in the Karma Yoga, he was telling that you are not the body, you are the soul. So analytical thinking of the concept of material body and the soul, how to differentiate your spiritual strength compared to the material body, that was in Karma Yoga. He was giving different instances, like for Kshatriya, for being a Kshatriya, you have to follow your duty, so you have to fight. He was also telling to use your buddhi, your knowledge, and your intelligence to fight. And the third, he was saying that was a Bhakti Yoga, to use all your intelligence just to serve me and then do the work. So he was giving all different kinds of instances to inspire Arjuna to perform his duties. So the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita is a covering, which is the Karma Yoga. And then the chapter 6 to 12 is about the Bhakti Yoga. That's unalloyed transcendental service, the loving service to the Supreme Lord, is like a most precious gems that we can learn from the Bhagavad Gita. So for example, in a sandwich, if we have a sandwich, in between the 2 breads, we have the material in the middle, which gives the flavor to the sandwich, which otherwise the 2 breads will not have any flavor. It will not be tasty. The sandwich is tasty because of the inner fillings that we keep in the sandwich. Same way, the Bhakti Yoga is a most delicious and the most precious gift the Lord has given us, which is stored in the treasure chest. And this we will be able to understand this Bhakti Yoga when we will be able to understand our Karma Yoga, like why we are here in this world, what are duties we have to perform in this particular world, why we are in the material body. Slowly, our mind becomes little bit elevated, then we can understand the Bhakti Yoga. So that's a hidden treasure. And then slowly, when we understand the Bhakti Yoga, we understand the transcendental loving service towards the Supreme Lord, we understand the realization, as the supreme realization that, why are we here on this earth? What is my purpose? And what is my relation with the Supreme Lord? What is the relationship with my companions in this world? Like what is the relation with my family, with my friends, with my colleagues? Then we realize these things. These realizations will come when we have entered the Bhakti Yoga and try to understand the Jnana Yoga. So the chapter 6 to 12 is Bhakti Yoga, and chapter 12 to 18 is about the Jnana Yoga. So in the first 6 chapters, Lord Krishna talks about Swadharma. So Swadharma is like the specific duties of oneself, like why, like as a child, the child has a duty to learn and attain knowledge. As a grihastha, we have a duty of performing our family duties, and then to teach the kids and to raise the family. And then as we grow old, then we have another duty. So the specific duties of oneself, Krishna is teaching us through Swadharma. So why do we need Swadharma? The Swadharma is important to realize ourselves. So for the self-realization, and also it helps us to liberate us from the material bondage that we have. For example, sometimes we get attached to the things which are around us. Sometimes we get the feelings of, sometimes we get proud. Sometimes we get little bit distressed about our failures. So these are all kinds of attachment to this material world. So the purpose when we perform our Swadharma, we understand our individual role in this life, and it helps us to liberate ourselves from this world. And also, Swadharma is at the bodily concept of life. There are 4 orders of the society. For example, we have like Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. These are the classical 4 divisions the Lord has given to us. Some people think it's kind of a caste system. It's not a caste. It's not the caste system. It's just because the Lord has made these kinds of 4 ashrams or 4 sects of society to maintain the social equilibrium in the society, and it solely depends upon the person's mode of material nature. For example, in this world also we see there are persons who are very learned, who have the tendency to acquire knowledge. So they are in the mode of goodness. There are some people who have the mode of leadership qualities. So they become the administrative people. And there are some people who have the combination of both the goodness and the passion. They have another duties. There are people like Vaishyas who are good in business class. So they have the combination of both the passion as well as the ignorance. And there are certain hardworking peoples who are not very good at attaining the knowledge, but they have their own importance in their life. So these 4 sects of the society are there to maintain the balance in the society. So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, Chatur Varnayam Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashah Tashe Kartaram Apimam Viday Akartam Avyayam. That means Lord created the 4 sects of society based upon the 3 modes of material nature, which is goodness, passion, and ignorance. This is just to maintain the social balance and to maintain, and it's all based upon the individual nature of the persons. So even we don't accept the caste system at present in this modern day world, but still we see there is a discretion, or there is a division in the society. There are learned peoples, the top tiers are there, and there will be leaders who will lead the departments, lead the institutes. There are the people who will develop the business relationships for the universities. They have different qualities, and there are people who have who develop the menial or the hardworking class of the society. But they all have 4. They work according to their modes of nature, and this is all created by the Lord. It is eternal and it is unchangeable. Nobody can change it. The names can be changed, but the philosophy behind it cannot be changed. One important thing is, like, once we enter the bhakti yoga, when we understand that our relationship with the Lord and we try to serve the Lord with loving service, we go beyond the modes of material nature. We go above the modes of passion, goodness, and ignorance. For example, Lord Krishna, being the supreme personality of the Godhead, he is the king of the kings. All the modes of material nature does not bind him. He, apart from being a king of the whole universe, he accepted to be the driver of the chariot. So that shows when a person is involved in the bhakti or in the devotional service, at that time his positions does not matter, and his position or his social status does not matter. The importance is a loving service to the Lord. When one serves the Lord with love and service, the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance does not at all work in this particular society. I will try to explain this with an example of parts and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So we, for example, in the left-hand side, you will see various spare parts of this machine, All the spare parts, you will see that they have different shapes. They are made of different kinds of, they may be made of different kinds of metals. They are of different sizes, and they fit in different part at different regions of this machine to make the machine working. In the same way, we as a human society, we as a human individuals, we all have different qualities, which are mostly the qualities are governed by our modes of material nature, our goodness, passion, and ignorance. And based upon that, there are different kinds of personalities we develop. It depends upon our bringing, our intrinsic nature, our desires. So these parts are like these, we are the parts of the Supreme Lord. So we have different shapes and sizes. And what happens is these parts have a unique role in the working of the big machine of the Lord. So each part is unique and each part is very important. But the thing is, over the time, when we forget our relationship that we have to serve the Supreme Machine, we have to work for the machine of the Supreme Lord. We forget, we think we are the individual part. I am the only person behind this thing. I am the only person running this particular thing. But the thing is, we are the part of we are a very small part of this entire part of the Lord's machine, and we have a unique thing. And what happens is, over the period of time, when we are involved in so much of karma yoga, like we do so much of karma, we perform our duties, what happens is these parts become rusty. And what happens, the parts become rough and the machine does not work properly. And we get tired, we get distressed, we get all the negative emotions starts coming up. And we need a greasing of each and every part so that the parts can run, smoothly function, and they can serve the purpose of their life. And the purpose is to make the machine run smoothly over time and time again. So the lubrication part that is important for running of each parts of the machine is the bhakti, or the devotional service, or the spiritual learning of the Lord. So when we understand, when we lubricate our karma yoga with the bhakti yoga, we try to understand our relationship. And when there's a proper lubrication is there, then we understand, oh wow, this machine is working so wonderfully. There is no problem in that. So from time to time, we have to always, apart from doing our karmas, our swadharma, our duties, we have to always connect with the higher purpose of being in loving connection with the Supreme Lord. So how can we develop the connection with the Supreme Lord? Lord Krishna says in the start of the Bhakti Yoga, Takshtanu, that is, hear from me. The Lord is saying, just hear from me. I will tell you how you can do your dharma, do your quality, all your works by being connected to me. So just hearing from the Supreme Lord, or hearing from the Vedas, like our books, the Lord have, the speaker of the Vedas is Lord Krishna himself, and he transmitted those information to the sun god and all to his disciples. So hearing and listening creates an imprint in our mind. For example, we have we go for so many conferences and we listen to various good leaders, and they are very good oral speakers. So after listening to them, what happens? It creates an impression in our mind, and it inspires us to do something good. So hearing is very important. So in Bhakti Yoga, Lord Krishna stresses upon hearing, and the best person to hear is Lord Krishna. So Bhagavad Gita is a song of the Supreme Lord. So when we hear Bhagavad Gita, what happens is our heart gets so much purified, because Krishna is dwelling in our heart. He's our supreme friend. He is our best well-wisher. So hearing from him is the best thing. So Bhagavad Gita, even one shloka, give us so much of inspiration and enthusiasm, which will always help us to perform our function of each and every part very well. It helps us to, for example, in the machine, when we connect, in the previous thing we saw a machine. So all the parts work together. So all the adjoining parts also work in symphony with each other. So in the same way, we try to connect better with ourselves also, with our society, with our community, when we have a connection with the Supreme Lord, we understand the plan of the Supreme Lord. So this Bhakti Yoga helps to develop those qualities in us. And then Bhagavad Gita in 9.2, I really like this shloka, which says, Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratikshya Vagamam Dharmayam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. So learning about, hearing about the Lord is so auspicious. And if you understand this, if we try to understand him, that's the best education that we can hear, that we can attain in our life. It's a secret of all the most secret, and it is the purest form of the knowledge one can receive. Apart from, we can attain so many degrees, we can achieve so many positions in the material world, but unless we try to attain or try to or aspire to learn this purest form of knowledge, our hearts will not be purified. So this is very important to develop hearing from the Lord, and because this is the purest form of the knowledge. And the one thing, when we try to understand Bhagavad Gita, it gives us realizations, a very magical realizations. Every person will have their own unique realizations in their lives. And then they will connect, that happens because of this, that happened. Then we can try to relate things in our own perspective. So everybody has their own unique inspiration, unique perceptions, and everybody can share that on the same platform when we connect with Krishna. So if everybody has the same center, and then everything will fall at one place. For example, if a ball, if we drop the ball, everything goes down like a gravitational force. So if everything falls around Krishna, then there will be no problem in this whole world, because everything is channelized in a proper way if we try to understand the knowledge and the wisdom given by Lord Krishna. It is a perfection of religion. And the thing is, when we try to understand bhakti or devotional service, it gives a joy to us. It brings a smile on everybody's face. And nobody feels distressed when we talk about Sri Krishna or devotional service. And everybody can do this for a very long time. So it's everlasting and it is never destroyed. So this is a very beautiful shloka. I really like this. And once we totally surrender to Lord Krishna, then only Lord Krishna will reveal to us his wisdom, his knowledge to us. And how can we practically do this kind of a devotional service to the Lord? This shloka in Bhagavad Gita 9.26 says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prachyati tad aham bhaktaya uphatam ashnani prayatatmanaham. That means if you offer to me anything, even if we are not rich, we can just offer him any leaf or a flower or a fruit or a water, Lord Krishna will accept everything from us, and he will try to transmit his knowledge and wisdom to us, and gives us the eternal bliss that he is. Because Lord Krishna is Sachida Anand Vigraha, that is always eternal. He's full of knowledge, he's full of his eternal bliss. So whenever we offer to Lord Krishna with full of devotion, he will accept that with love. For example, if we do our work if we do our work in our offices, whatever we do as an offer, as a service to Krishna, then Krishna will accept whatever we do. So that's a power of devotional service Lord Krishna has given to us. So in the end, I would just conclude my understanding with you, and that anything we do, whatever we do, we just try to connect with Lord Krishna, and this will give us a lot of eternal bliss and happiness, and all the wisdom Lord Krishna will reveal to us automatically. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Ratnari. Very wonderful. And, it's always nice to see, your favorite shloka that anybody says in Gita, right? Everybody has their favorites. It's so wonderful to see what are your favorites. And also the shlokas are so open for so much interpretation, and how we like Neeraj was saying, apply it in our lives, and could see how you were able to kind of give a very interesting perspective to those shlokas. So thank you so much.
Yeah, Rachana, wonderful presentation, but I just want to add only because you all talked about the practical, whatever, anything that you should submit to God. See, I visited some ISKCON temples all over India sometime whenever I went, but I visited one in Tirupati, ISKCON temple. I don't know whether you could. There was some Swamiji sitting. Whoever came for darshan there, he would compel the person who comes to darshan, sit down and utter at least 10 times, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Unless the devotee tells 10 times, he is not allowed to go away. Afterwards, he would go Tirtham and Prasadam. So that practice, I don't know now what happened, but when we visited Tirupati and that temple long back, I found that. So whatever Krishna in Gita has been telling is that patram pushpam phalam toyam bhaktya prayachati. Yes. So that bhakti, at least utterance, namasmarana or namocharana itself. So that was one unique practice done by Swamiji in Tirupati ISKCON temple. I was told in the morning that Niroja is in Neerajji in the ISKCON temple attending program. So I am reminded of that. Thank you. Next. So now Dr. Gopi Chand is there. Is he there? Otherwise, we'll just move to next speaker. I don't know about Gopi Chand. Next speaker is Dr. Purushottam.
Yeah. Namaste. Am I audible and visible?
Yes.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
Sri Guru Bhyom Namaha. Sabhai Namaha. On the outset, thanks very much for this opportunity. With small learning, I ventured to get into this conversation. Was just trying to look at the Bhagavad Gita as such. Looks like there are 700 commentaries. There are 700 plus commentaries, and all the acharyas.
Purushottam sir, can you please unmute? Sorry. Yeah, we've been hearing. Just for a second,
Okay.
you got muted. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay. So I rewind myself. So it looks like Bhagavad Gita has 700 odd commentators. People like all acharyas have talked about it and given their point of view. So also many other exalted souls, they gave their views, explanation. And it is one of the oldest spiritual scriptures in the world. And still we are every year we are talking about it, we're taking one aspect or the other. That means it's so rich. Otherwise we would not be probably doing this. So I was just wondering if it is so many people have talked and so much is there. What exactly is it that I understand? Everybody has his own viewpoint. These are all great explanations, great interpretations given by great scholars. But from the literal meaning of the slokas, what is it that I can get myself is what I was looking at. The very first thing I realized is, Lord Krishna has set the context clear to Arjuna. And that is, look, there are different dimensions for different facts. All are true. Like, for example, if you are worried about losing 1,000 rupees when you are buying a furniture, because if you lose it, it gives you sorrow, like Vishada of Arjuna. I'm losing 1,000 rupees. But if you are dealing with a flat, probably a crore or something these days, 1,000 is nothing. It doesn't. If you are suffering from a small headache, it gives you pain, but suddenly you, God forbidding, you meet with an accident and you got a bigger sprain, you forget about the smaller injury or small pain which you have. Same way, we need to talk of the frame of reference from which we are talking about. Another example from science we can take is Newtonian mechanics is right. It's a perfect. But if you are going into the interstellar space, probably Newton is not right. It's not correct. So what all I want to say is, Lord Krishna has said that, look, boss, you are looking at this life as the whole universe. It's not so. You are a bigger stuff. You are not realizing. You think that since you are born for maybe 100 years or something, that till you meet your death, that is the whole thing, and then you are looking at and trying to interpret everything in that. Just forget that. You are a very long-standing guy. You may probably change your bodies and your features, etc., but you have been for thousands of births you have had, and you will have many more. So if you take that bigger dimension, what is it that you lose an uncle here or a dear father in another? You have lost many of them. So don't look at that. I mean, that is, I think that Vishada Yoga I think he has addressed well. First, have the right perspective and try to increase your field of vision. Once you do that, these things do, first of all, they become very trivial, or at least not that significant, not to bother about. So that's something which I liked, right perspective. And of course, if you have to believe it, and we have enough proof to show that people are being reborn, and there are many instances. So we'll not get into that. But if you can trust that, we are not limited by this body. We are not limited by this 100 years max. We are unending. Started a long time back, and we will go further to so many more years. If that is the context, how does it really matter? Anything, whether good or bad, it really doesn't matter. And secondly, Lord Krishna has said that all you are doing, you think that you are doing because you have got a shorter vision. If you enlarge your vision, you will realize that what you are doing, what you are not doing, or you think that you are prohibiting or you are stopping yourself from doing, and what you are thinking, everything is the product of the influence of the nature. The three modes of nature, and of course your Arishad Vargas and your own previous karmas or your vasanas, the combination of these multiple parameters which are working on you will make you do something or will stop you from doing something. And you think, because you have the smaller vision you have, you think that you are doing or you are not doing. You can neither do nor stop from doing. That's what he said. And it looks like it is appealing to me. At least I'm talking only from my point of view. So good. It looks like if you are under the influence and there is a groove through which these articles are moving. For example, it's under gravity, something is falling, it falls only. There's no other way. And if you have got a steep, you have got a slope, and you will ride. You think that you're riding a cycle or something, you're not really riding. It is just going, it's taking you through. So we are not what we think that we are in the first place, and we are not doing any of our actions are not ours. They are all the influence of the nature. We are just like any other objects in this world. It's a type of thinking which I felt. So, and then, do we not have anything to do in this world? It looks like there are small spectrum in which we can operate, we can use our free will. And those things we should keep doing. And that is the reason why same set of circumstances happening to two different people, they may react differently. Circumstances are same. That is, nature is same. External nature is same. But when it happens to two people, one reacts positively, another reacts negatively. Like this famous story of two brothers in a family where the father is a drunkard, and one fellow becomes a drunkard because he got the example of his father. The other fellow hated so much that he wanted to be away from that, and he never drank. Okay, so it is what is the difference? Difference is the internal nature. So So, therefore, there is a little bit of a free will, not that it's not there, that you have to latch on to that, and probably you have to work. So, like it said, karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, ma karma phala heturbhuhu ma te sangostva karmani. You have karmanyevadhikaraste is you have the power, you are the eligibility to do your work. Ma phaleshu kadachana, never ever on the result of your work. Ma karma phala heturbhuhu, you never think or assume that you are the reason for the result of your karma, because there are so many parameters which are seen, not seen, and never can be imagined. All of them, they will work on the final result. So, mate sangaha astu akarmani. At the same time, you don't get attached to the state of not doing anything, because that is not what is recommended. You have to work. So then how to work? I think this is a very practical lesson we are learning from Gita. Right in the beginning, we have said this, what you see is not this. It's a very big world, and your life is very long, and you are not this physical body. There's something else, some material, non-material body. And the field of reference is very big. And so none of these things really matter. But at the same time, whatever you are doing and not doing is all subject to the effect of the nature. However, there is a small bandwidth in which you can probably operate, your free will can work. And when you do that, make sure while you are working very sincerely, never ever think that you have a right on the result. So we have to rule out that. So this is a very interesting thing. And if people can follow in the material world, I think there is no disappointment, there is no depression, there is no anxiety, no nothing. Because you have accepted the fact the result is not mine, it's not in my hands. Okay, so you may have some desires. Of course, ultimately in Gita, Krishna says that the best guy is one who doesn't have any desires. But if you have some desires also, you have to work on it without getting attached. So, another interesting thing which I find is Uddharet Atmanatmanam. Atmana, with your, that is Tritiya Bhakti, with your Atma, with yourself, you have to lift yourself, Atmanam, that is second, Dvitiya. So you have to pull yourself up, yourself. The object and subject is same, which is Atma. The Atma is not Atma, Paramatma type, it is Atma itself. Na Atma avasadayet. Atmanam avasadayet. Don't look down upon your own self. Atmaeva hi atmano bandhu. So your self is your mind here. Atma has multiple meanings. Your mind itself is your bandhu or your friend, and your mind itself is your enemy. So it gives you an idea of how to manage your mind, how to control it, or if not how to control it, but at least how helpful it can be and how dangerous it can be. It can be the worst enemy, it can be the best friend. Now, the rest is to deal with the mind as to how we can do it. So there are multiple things which Lord Krishna says, as we all know, and so many methods. And if all methods fail, because it's not easy, the power of nature is so strong. However strong-willed you are getting pulled by force, because the power of the nature is so. So if you can't do anything, if you fail everywhere in all the attempts, sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Leave out all attempts, and then you please surrender yourself to me. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. Don't cry, I will take care of you. So this is it looks like easiest, but the most difficult thing for us, for anybody, at least for me, I'm talking purely very, very self-centered. I'm not talking anything about Gita probably. I'm talking about myself and my understanding of it. How can you leave to anything to anybody when you can do it, or you're supposed to do it? But that's a technique. That's a technique to be practiced. I like this. And finally, of course, Krishna surrenders himself. Nasto moha smritir labdha. And my delusion is gone, and I got my consciousness. Tat prasadan maya achyuta. Tat prasad. By your boon or your gift, I got this loss of delusion and got the consciousness to realities. Sthito osmi kata sandeha. I I'm devoid of all doubts now. And karishye vachanam tava. I will do what you say. If you can surrender, ultimately, if you can surrender, I think it becomes most easiest. And for us to be able to surrender, there is a necessity for understanding the context. I think Sri Krishna has given a wonderful background and reason why you should not really worry. People say that how I can give it up and all that. If you look at the bigger prospect and the bigger frame of reference, I think it is sort of possible. So this is what I understood, and there are so many in the while trying to pull yourself out. There are so many methods, so many qualities discussed. I like that part of it. So many qualities. I try to put them together. Only 1 minute I will take more further if I can get these qualities quickly. So the qualities which are required, the qualities which Krishna likes most in the devotees. I just put them together as is, and there are some of them are repetitions which were in the original text, so it's not unnecessarily my mistakes. It's not a mistake. Maybe it is how they normally talk about, because you have to say multiple things to change the character. That's the reason why I think corporate world people are asked to attend the same training program once in a year or something, because it's very difficult to come over the issues of your character. So if behavioral change is required, you need to hear again and again. So probably the repetition is. So there's so many 34 characters qualities I could identify. There may be an error here and there, but number doesn't matter. But all of them are interesting, and some of them are very, very practical. In day-to-day world also, we try to follow them. Qualities of a true a person who wants to get the knowledge, who can attain the knowledge. How does he behave? He exhibits no pomp, observes no non-violence, forgiving, etc. Don't want to go through that and bore you. But there are the entire Gita has so many reputations and so many qualities talked about. The qualities of a person who has transcended all these three gunas. He does not get disturbed when these three modes, that is Rajo, Tamo Guna, and Rajo Guna, and Sattva Guna, they affect, all of them affect, and he is unmoved, he is stable, he is so steady all the time. And he carries out his duties without being affected. He is, he is steadfast. So, and also the qualities of a divinely person. If he has attained a certain amount of divinity and higher level maturity, how does he look like? How does he behave? These are the things which I have mentioned. I just put them together for my understanding. Thanks very much. I tried to at least share some of my views, which at least I felt. Thanks, Guruji, for this opportunity. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you, Purushottam Garu. So nice. Those slides, I think, are very useful, and hopefully you can share with us also. I think it's a good collection of very good essence of Gita. And like you were saying in the beginning and towards the end, our mind is, clouded with moha. And you said if you just can get the knowledge and perspective, you said if you're stressing about 1,000 rupees, you put yourself in the context of a crore for a house, the 1,000 seems small. Or if you have a headache and you put yourself in an accident injury, the headache is insignificant. So the perspective, right? The moha, what clouds our thinking is really what, is a barrier for our action. And Krishna, through his teaching, like you very nicely put, is allowing us to operate with the Nashta Moha. So no Moha coming in the way of what we are destined to do. And also you very nicely put how a lot of our actions is dictated by our environment and also our kind of Bhagavad Krupa, right? And the control that we have is not always enough for a result, and so we cannot be desiring those results. I think, again, you put it in a very wonderful perspective, those shlokas. Thank you very much. Thank you. Nana, you're muted.
Govind Raj has told that there is one speaker by name Nayak, who is a teacher, who is learned man traditionally also, to speak to add some words, but I don't know what.
Good evening, Guruji. Actually, he has another satsang, I think, starting at 9. Looks like he waited till 8:30.
No,
So-
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, yeah.
Govindaraji.
Yes, Doctor. Yes, Namaskara, Ravindra Nayak. Welcome, sir. Sorry. I was about to call you, but meanwhile, thank you.
Yeah. So,
15 minutes, sir.
no problem. Thank you. And, I heard everybody today. It was very nice hearing each and every one of you. And Dr. Rachana ji mentioned that she is just learning. Who is not? We are all learners only. There is nobody who can say we have mastered Bhagavad Gita or there is, I have been, studying Bhagavad Gita for last, say, 7 or 8 years. And every time I go and contemplate on any sloka, it tells me something totally new or different. So it is never ending. So we are all learners and we keep learning. And another thing Dr. Rachana ji mentioned, that Bhagavan Krishna was doing menial services to Arjuna as a chariot driver. So here I just want to, give my opinion. It was not Lord Krishna who was doing service to Arjuna. It was Arjuna Arjuna and all of us are doing service to Krishna or Bhagavan. And Krishna, no, he is like a director of Mahabharata. So he created various characters. He created Arjuna as well as Duryodhana. Both are his own grandchildren. Both are fathered by Vyasa, who is nothing but literally incarnation of same Krishna Bhagavan. So Dhritarashtra as well as Pandu and Vidura, all three were fathered by Vyasa. And all are his own grandchildren. So he created Duryodhana, he created Arjuna, and he created this, setup of Mahabharata because he wanted to give this Gitobadesha for this generation, for this Kali Yuga generation. At the end of Dwapara Yuga, he does that. It is not for those who lived in Dwapara Yuga, it is mainly for us. There's a lot of things which are relevant even for, current environments and current things we are going through, okay, whether it's corporate world or, student, educational field, anywhere. Now, Arjuna, for years, he has practiced to fight with these people. He knows that when the battle happens, it's not only Duryodhana that comes. He knows that, all those Dronacharya or Bhishma, all these people will be accompanying, Duryodhana because they are loyal to Hastinapura. And he has amassed wealth, his Dhananjaya, as well as weapons, including Pashupadartha, Astra. All these things to fight only. He didn't collect those things not to fight. And he knew whom he is going to fight throughout. And just a few months prior to this, Kurukshetra battle, he has faced the same enemy all by himself. That time Bhagavan was not there with him. And he used the Mohini Astra to, make everybody unconscious, and he took their dress and all. But now Bhagavan wanted him to get deluded. So he gets deluded. It is not that, this happened without, Bhagavan's or Krishna's doing. And when Krishna tells Arjuna in chapter 11, I've already killed everybody. You are nimitta matra. Just release your arrows and claim victory. So it is not only at that instance Arjuna was nimitta matra. Even here, he was nimitta matra. So he got deluded or bewildered. That's the word used by Rachanaji. And he decides to give up arms, and he says, it is better if I get killed than killing my own people, against whom he prepared for so many years. So it is all, there is only one Bhagavan, and he was the only one who was fighting in the entire battlefield. I'm pretty sure all of you know the story of what happened after the Gita, when Arjuna wanted to know, Arjuna, Bhima, everybody wanted to know who fought better. So I think Barbarika was the only witness. When they went to him, all he told is, I only saw some Sudarshana Chakra and, that killed everybody. So it is not Arjuna or, Drona or Bhishma. Everybody is nimitta matra. Karmanyavadikarate ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phale turbu mate sangosto karmani. I totally agree with, Purushottam Sistaji. Bhagavan very clearly says here, we have to do our karma, niyata karma or prescribed duties. And we don't have rights over the fruits of action, fruits of our own action. By worrying about fruits of action, we degrade ourselves. Instead, we can put all the best efforts with the clear understanding that we are doing this as a service to Bhagavan. See, when we do something for Bhagavan, we do with divinity. We don't worry about what is there in it for us. Now, couple of, earlier, last Monday, Sri Rama Prana Pratisthapana happened. So many devotees spent whole day, chanting Sri Ram Jai Ram, or many people visited. Some people had darshan also. Did anybody have any intention, what is in it there for me? It was pure service to Bhagavan, devotional this, feeling, divine feeling. So we don't need a Rama Pratishtapana day, Prana Pratishtapana day, or, we don't need any, Gita Jayanti or any such auspicious days to do service to Bhagavan. If we dedicate ourselves consciously to the services of Bhagavan, every day is as divine as 22nd of January. Every day can be as divine as that. Now Arjuna, he didn't want to fight, but Bhagavan tells him, no, you cannot leave the battlefield. Then Arjuna asks him to give him, Upadesha. From 11 to 40, chapter number 2, 11 to 53, in 42 slokas, 43 slokas, Bhagavan gives the entire Upadesha. After that, what happens is Q&A. Arjuna starts with first question about Prajna and goes on with several questions. And Bhagavan keeps elaborately answering each and every of those. And again, the last sloka that, again, Purushottam Srisaji already mentioned, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvat Sarvapapebhyo Mokshayasami Ma Shucha. When Arjuna was, in spite of given Upadesha, he is asking question over question, question over question, and he was not at lifting his Gandiva again and ready to fight, showing he is ready to fight. Then Bhagavan tells him, okay, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Give up all your dharma, including Swadharma, including Kshatriya Dharma. Come and surrender to me. Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayasami. I will forgive all your sins. Ma Shucha, don't worry. But will Arjuna surrender? He was Nimitta Matram. So nobody can surrender to Bhagavan that easily. So first we have to attain purity. Bhagavan is 100% pure. If you want to merge with him, if you want to be united with him, if you want to go into his Saran also, we have to be equally pure. So for all of us who are in Grihasthasrama, irrespective of what, whether we are Kshatriyas or Brahmanas or Vaishyas, Karma Yoga is the only option for purification. So Jnana Yoga comes only later. Bhakti also comes when we have purified ourselves. Devotion, all those things they will all automatically follow. So for Umaji mentioned about applying strategies for educational, field. Again, there also, Karmanevadikarate, Ma Phaleshu Kadachana, Ma Karma Phale Turgu Mate Sarvastu Akarmani. All the students need to do is put their best efforts without worrying about what will happen. Worrying about the result will take a lot of time off them. And so without worrying about the end results, you have to do your duties. This is what Bhagavan very clearly says in the shloka. And for students, one more thing I wanted to say. Umaji mentioned about Tatvidi Panipatena Pasnena Sevaya Upadeshanti Te Jnanam Jnanina Tattvadarshina. Tattvadarshina is very important there. Okay. Tattvadarshina is a realized person. I'll end with this. I know my time is I need to go join that satsang also. So Tattvadarshina here now when Umaji mentioned about this loka, I remembered about Totakacharya. I'll quickly in couple of minutes I'll tell about Totakacharya and this in my talk. So when Adi Shankaracharya ji was in Sringeri, this is way back in the 8th century, he came across a boy called Giri. Venkatagiri is the name. Giri is known as. And the Giri started working for Shankaracharya and doing all his daily chores, washing his clothes, dishes and all those things. And he was looking after the garden also. And after everything is done, he used to stand in a corner and listen to Shankaracharya's discourses. But he never asked any questions. He expressed his intellect. Everybody else thought he was very dumb. One day Shankaracharya was ready to start the discourse, but was not yet there. So he waits for Giri. When others ask, why are you waiting? When Shankaracharya says, no, I'm waiting for Giri. These people, Shankaracharya could read their mind. They're thinking, Giri is a dumb fellow, waiting for him is of what use. But Giri, Venkatagiri was doing so much seva of Shankaracharya without any expectations in return and with complete devotion. And then he was trying to learn also. So, in a flash, Shankaracharya transfers all his scriptural knowledge to Giri, who goes on as goes on and becomes popularly known as Totakacharya, and he will become the first disciple to take over from Shankaracharya. So there is so much, in seva, pariprasnena, pranipatena sevaya. So with that, I will end. I know I exceeded 15 minutes plus. I need to go also. So again, thanks for the opportunity, Govindraj and Prabhakar. And back to you, Prabhakar. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ram Garu. I know you have to leave, and I really appreciate you staying and giving us these remarks. And Govindraj Garu, thank you for introducing, and hopefully you'll come back again and speak more. We really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Yeah, so there's no more speakers except you and Buddhapalli Garu. And before that, see, what we are learning from Gita is that results are not in our hands. Purushottamji also is telling the same. But what is in our hand? Only to be surrendering, develop faith and prayer. We have only right to pray, and the result is the Krishna's right. That's what is being, because Mayarpita Mano Buddhi. And also another point is, as a Kshatriya, Sarvadharma Parityajya means Arjuna cannot give up the dharma of fighting. He has to. But as our Ram Garu said, that it is all Sudarshan Chakra which has worked the entire devastation of the whole Kauravas. So, Paroksha Priyayi Vahi Devaha. So, though gods give us some assignment, but we take it credit that we are doing it, but behind it there is somebody who is doing all that. So that's exactly the message. I think one of the messages that Krishna want to give, that your lot is only to pray and hope for betterment, hope for fulfillment, hope for spiritual elevation, and so on. So all the speakers are presenting us wonderful thoughts. And now I left to Prasad and Raghav Garu, and we'll conclude it afterwards.
Yeah, Raghav Garu, can you go please first? I will sum it up.
I did.
No, you are in mute, huh? Yeah, you're muted.
Thank you, Professor Prabhakar sir, and for Gita Jayanti celebration. So, our Nada Veda Adhyayana Kendra Pravachana of I don't know. It is getting Dr. Mameshwar Rao, devotee of Bhagwan Sri Satsai Baba. So he, I always remember one shloka of Bhagavad Gita of Bhagwan Sri Satsai Baba always tells to his devotee, while prasadam for Bhagavan, we chant aham vaishvanaro bhutva praninam deham ashritaha pranapana samayam chaturvidham. So Bhagavan, Krishna Paramatma, as Agni, very badly on its own. So in Jataragni, Krishna Paramatma as Agni is present in all that we have taken inside. So both the doctors, Neeraj Arora, with their latest concepts on bringing out certain things from Bhagavad Gita. And as usual, I always like Dr. He said one thing, Dr. Purushottam, is that which I liked, and which always Bhagavan Satsai Baba tells, is that I have not find the true devotee so far, which who is the true devotee? Which is told in the Bhagavad.
Why is it getting muted?
Yeah, it is getting muted very badly. I don't know.
Rather, can you maybe try to log out and log back in? Maybe that will fix it. Yeah, let's try that.
Yeah, let us see it now. So another thing what Purushottam, that is absolute. I should say Bhagavan Aurobindo has also said this, and Ramakrishna Paramahamsa has Swami, all these jnanis, all these Atma spoke about the system of human, which today which I really liked it. We cannot we cannot development and growth for a human absolutely important, which is told in the, which is very well told in the lectures today by several people, and we should thank to bring these presenters in a very beautiful way on the Bhagavad Gita. Thank you so much. I am extremely sorry for this bad system.
Hey, Raghav, thank you for your remarks, and I think you really captured the essence of all the key points made by the speakers. And my impression of Gita again is always that Gita is a way of life. It's something I learned when I was young. When somebody said, way of life is like how we wake up, we brush our teeth, or how we, do things when we are eating, we do Pravachana. So everything that we do, we make it into a habit, and we don't think about it. We just do it without thinking about it. So how can we make Gita a way of life? And Neeraj ji, through his many stories, showed us like some of also the way in which we can think about learning. Recitation is one thing, but applying it in a way that becomes a way of life, I think it's a very good point for all of us to take away. And again, like we brush our teeth every time, we have to remember Gita every time, right? Every Gita Jayanti, we have to reinvigorate our commitment to learning and applying Gita. So I think this is a wonderful event with great speakers, and a lot of my favorite shlokas were touched, and thinking about how we can go forward in the next year, applying Gita in our lives. And like Neeraj also said, which I resonated, is letting Krishna be in control, because we are all in some sense a reflection. The Sudarshana Chakra is it's true for all of us, for everything we do, even though we might have done this or somebody else does this for us, or any of that stuff. As we also discussed, these are great examples to say that Sudarshana Chakra is the ultimate universal factor in all what we do. So letting Krishna ride our lives, I think, is a faith which is difficult to have, but like that small girl, we should have that joy, because again, I remember when Neeraj ji had ISKCON Guru come and talk about Gita, he said, everywhere, everything is filled with danger, which is true. Whatever we are doing, like Neeraj ji said, when we're driving or whatever we're doing, when you go to a doctor, when you go to a chef, there is that faith, and what is driving is not always in our control. But if we have the faith like that girl, she's playing, she's happy, and she knows there is protection in spite of all the danger we go through, everything we do every day. That is another level of Krishna Bhakti. If we can achieve it and not only make it a way of life, but have that confidence, and Purushottam Garu gave that beautiful list. I hope we can get it and maybe publish in the Veda of all the qualities of a learned person of who Krishna wants us to be, even tempered, without ego, serving, being kind regardless of what is happening. I mean, those kind of thoughts that were very nicely summarized through the different chapters. And also Rachanaji gave very clear sort of explanation by each of the yogas. So I think we have had a very great learning this morning, and so fortunate we were all able to meet. And so thank you for all the participation.
Actually, we used to conduct a day-long seminar on Bhagavad Gita earlier years, and so many speakers were there. But this time also it was become possible because of the Anjaneya Prasad and all of you, that we are having some speakers to share their thoughts and also see the rays of Bhagavad Gita, how best they are going to work upon us. And ultimately what we have to learn is, as Neeraj appreciated, after all Bhagavad Gita, we should go back to action, not for restaurant or bedroom to rest. So because this happened at the time of a rigorous war. Already started, but Arjuna had the problem, and quickly in 4 minutes, the entire Gita Upadesham was done to Arjuna, and Arjuna was able to absorb all that and could say, Nashto moha smrutir labdha tvat prasadat janardana. See, moha and smruti, these are the two things that grip him, and also klivatvam, klaibyam, hridaya daurbalyam. So all these things have been removed by Krishna. That's what that all that hridaya daurbalya was something like clouding. That cloud has gone away. Cloud is an elephant. But if there is Surya Bhagavan, he will shine through the cloud also. So Krishna is able to give that kind of light, fresh light on Gita. Everybody talking on Gita is a fresh light. Hosa Beluku, that's what they say. So that Hosa Belakinda, we are able to be elevated ourselves. And but our duty is only to work, to devote. And of course, as Raghava said, there is no true devotee, however, in the world without desire. If at all anybody thinks of God, wants some desire. But there is a discretion of the God to decide and when and what and how it has to be granted for the devotee. We just purchase a Mysore State electricity or any lottery ticket, want that it come to our favor. No, thousands and lakhs of people purchase the ticket for 1 rupee or 2 rupees, but expect the whole thing. So the Krishna Paramatma tells, leave the discretion to me, but action is your lot and phala is my lot. So this is the message I think we can gather. And even children are also, there are so many classes, adult classes, children classes, senior citizen classes on Bhagavad Gita. This Chinmaya appreciation people are running. In fact, I had opportunity to address 6 lectures to the Chinmaya Center at Austin for the senior citizens of the students learning Bhagavad Gita in the Chinmaya Center. So, and a seasoned physics professor was asked to speak about Gita to the children class. So, like that, whatever be the level, like Krishna and just knows it, we have to come down. Unless you are accessible, you are available, you are not at all really great. Therefore, something like the present day situation in India, Narendra Modi can be happily be there, but he has taken a lot of pains and facing a lot of opposition and etc. But saw that Rama is installed in his own birthplace, Ayodhya, supposed to be na yuddham yatra tat Ayodhya. So there is no war, there is no battle, there is no asuya, there is nothing like that. It's absolutely calm and absolute. So that's what is called Ayodhya. So we are all in Ayodhya now, where we have to pick up pick up absolute silence, absolute devotion, absolute attitude to the work. So with these words, I request our Raghava Garu to end up with a prayer, Veda mantra and Shanti mantra. And you can recite the Saptater Prashaya, Sapta.
Yeah. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Vahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavit Visha
Oh.
Shanti 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 Om Saptate Agne Samidas Sapta Jihva Saptarshaya Saptadha Ahotra Saptadhatva Yajanti Saptayo Nira Pranasva Gritena Om Shanti Shanti Shanti